Okay, good morning. I'm having tea because I've already had 3 cups of coffee and I've trained. Anyway, so this morning I'm in between training sets and I step outside of the garage, go lean against the wall outside just for a breather. And Barry, my neighbor, who also uses the gym, he's got a key to the garage so he can come and train when he wants. Comes out on his motorbike and he stops and we chat because I haven't seen him since before leaving for Svalbard. And he's like, oh man, he saw a meme this week on Instagram that reminded him of me. And I'm like, oh, that can't be a good thing. And he says, no, it's something along the line of, we keep on looking for motivation, which fails. What we need is discipline. And it's early morning and it's cold. So I look at him and I was like, what? Anyway, so that's the thing, is I come back and I train because I feel better, body and mind. And I know it's good for me and I actually enjoy it. I actually do. Some people train because they have to. I train because I actually like it. But the discipline thing, motivation comes and go. We get motivated for something new. It's like, we got to do this. 3 days later, it's like, okay, whatever. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is just getting stuck in and doing the work. Doing the work. Motivation relies on constant feedback of how amazing everything is. Discipline is just something you do regardless. So that was pretty cool to hear this morning. I never thought about it like that. But that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Anyway, I'm in the process of writing my newsletter here. I'm at home today because it's my recoup day after a long trip. So on the way back on the airplane, I save articles, right? And then when I've got time, I read through them and stuff, research stuff, photography, nature conservation, coaching, psychology. There's a bunch of stuff that I save and I read through them. And in one article, I saw and read this quote. Listen to this one nicely. At some point in your childhood, you and your friends went outside to play together for the last time, and nobody knew it. Get it? People, many people, spend a disproportionate amount of time living in 2 places, the past or the future. We miss, and I used this quote with one of my coaching clients yesterday because it puts things in context, right? Going out playing with your kids, with your friends for the last time, you didn't know it was the last time. Going out, having drinks with a friend, it might be the last time. Life fucking happens. Something bad could happen, right? Accidents, changes, whatever. You never know when it's the last time that you do something. So, I spoke about this in the last, way back. And normally when you go on holiday, there's that vacation blues that sets in on the morning that you leave. A lodge, a boat, a hotel, whatever, a city. And I've made a point of when I leave a place, whether it's a city or a boat or a lodge, whatever, I always, even if I've been there 100 times, Mara camp, right? I'll go outside, away from people, and just soak in the moment and look at the area around me and feel that thing as if it's the last time. It makes you appreciate things. It really does. There's too many people who live their lives in the past that they fucking miss the amazing stuff happening right now. More others are so focused on the future. I want to make more money. I want to get this job. I want to move to a different country. Whatever it is, that you miss the fucking moment going right here. The saddest thing is people who apparently, by how they live and act, have already had their best life. So I worked on cruise ships a long time ago, and I see people online who worked with us then. Now we're talking fucking, how old was I? 20 years ago? 15, 20 years ago? I don't know. And you bump into these people and they talk about that as if it was, if they were a musician, that would have been their best record ever and the rest is just crap, right? That's all they talk about. Remember when, that was so amazing. It's the same kind of thing and a lot of guys have this. In school, they peak. They hit their fucking peak in high school. They're the captain of the rugby team, they're first team, they're the jock, they're the really cool guy. And the rest, then life happens. Real life happens and things balance out. And all they can talk about. And their character, everything is based around, that was the highlight. That's where they live. It's very sad to see. This quote, again, at some point in your childhood, you and your friends went outside to play together for the last time, and nobody knew it. The problem is, if you miss the now, the moments, right, you're losing out on memories in the future. It's just, I had a moment a couple of days ago. I was in Oslo. I checked in my flights in the morning, and I then went to walk around. So if you know Oslo, there's the Opera House, there's a hotel next to the Opera House, there's a big square in front of that, where they've got like bicycles and stuff you can rent, and then there's a little Italian place just off the park, which is next to it. I found myself there for lunch, and I was sitting there, I ordered margarita pizza, which is actually quite delightful. I had a beer, and then I had another beer, and I'm like, you know what, this just feels right, this moment just feels so good. And I put music on, and I had another beer. I had 3 beers. I don't drink that many beers normally. Maybe with Jono, but normally not. But I was sitting there, and I was trying to remember this moment. The sun. I was in Oslo. It was 11 degrees out. It felt like I was in Africa. The sun was beautiful. The scenes were amazing. The food was good. And you have that singular moment of gratitude and contentness and happiness. And I can tell you about it now like I am, and I can try and remember it. I remember the moment, but I can't be in that moment because it's gone. I can tell you about it, but I can't feel it again. So surely we should feel moments as much as we can. And it's all, I know I can cliche you with living in the moment and blah, 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 but it's real. We went to play together for the last time and nobody knew it. It is very real. It's very fucking real. Yeah. Anyway, I'm writing my newsletter, and one of the other things. So I was listening to another podcast yesterday. I've got a couple, maybe 4 or 5 podcasts I listen to on a regular basis. Rogan's one, good conversation. A lot of it becomes repetitive a little bit, but I like conversation. I'm going to pick up my podcast again soon. But I was listening to a doctor who specializes in longevity and exercise. And they were talking about stability. Now, stability is the first thing that goes as we get older. There's different pillars. We need to be stability. There needs to be cardiovascular fitness, anaerobic fitness, and strength. Now, stability goes first. Have you ever seen a kid, 2-3 years old, do squats and how they move their body? It's a masterclass in movement. They deep squat like it's nothing. How many of you right now can do a deep squat? Sit down all the way on your haunches with your feet touching, a full squat, and stay there. Kids can do it like it's nothing. From the moment kids go to school, stability starts dropping because they start sitting all day long and they're not as active as when they're younger. So the idea with stability as well is there's something when you're doing a bench press, right? You're exerting force in a certain direction. If there's any shake in any of the joints that's involved, there's force leakage. So the force isn't distributed to where it needs to go for maximum effect. The shaking, the instability requires energy. Force goes to that area. Force leaks away from what you need to be doing. Now, to my coaching clients, I'm going to be chatting to some of you in the next few weeks about this. Is the work that you're putting in mentally, physically, on yourself, is there any force leakage? Think about it. You can do all the work. But if you aren't stable, if the joints or the neurological links, the synapses firing, if things aren't stable, emotionally, whatever, there might be force leakage, and you're doing all this work for not as much return as you could get. So I was training this morning, and I've got a routine that I always do when I come back from being away for more than a week. Kind of just welcome back to training Gerry workout. And I was doing bench press. I pulled the weight a bit more, but I focus 100% on, I sometimes, if I max out, right, my right elbow does give a bit of a jiggle, I almost said, but there's movement, instability. This morning I pulled weight and I focused on that. It's actually pretty hard, but now I know that the force I'm generating is going to the right place. The right muscles is feeling it, and there's no force leakage. Ask yourself the question, guys. Is there force leakage on any kind of self-care or self-improvement that you're trying to do? Actually a big fucking deal. Anyway, so I'm writing my newsletter this morning. It should be out, well, it doesn't help when you watch this video, but probably about 2 hours from now, I'm going to get some more coffee, 4th cup, and then get that out. So that's that. Another thing I thought of. So, you ever been told that you're arrogant or full of yourself? Okay. Or have you said that about someone else? Let me ask you a question. So, on a Svalbard trip, one of the guides has worked with another guide who's worked with another guide on the boats. And apparently, through the grapevine, I heard that I can be arrogant sometimes. So, or full of myself or whatever. So let me ask you this question. Would you rather, or would you like for me to think less of myself? Do you want me to not be who I feel I need to be? Do you want me to be a lesser version of myself to make you feel better? It's so fucked up. There are so many people that point fingers at other people and saying, oh, they're so arrogant, they're full of themselves. If you're on the receiving end of that, first of all, you shouldn't give a fuck. You should choose where you give your fucks. That's not one of them. So if someone says that about you, do not compromise how you feel about yourself. Do not compromise who you are. I find it ludicrous that anybody who gets told there's something changes for this benefit of someone else. There's a quote I'm just thinking of now. I'm gonna paraphrase. Something in the line of, I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than their cup of tea. That's real. That's real. It's fascinating. And one of my clients yesterday as well, we were chatting, and specifically about social media and how it just keeps getting worse and worse with comparisons, and how it drives anxiety, and how it drives depression, and how it drives feeling of not being good enough. And then those people also point fingers and saying other people should change because they're arrogant and they're full of themselves. Whatever, man. Whatever. Actually, on that, can you feel when you go next level? Can you feel when you level up in life? Business, personal, headspace, physically, relationship, family, friends, who you are. Can you feel when you level up? It's a great feeling. When you know you've just gone next level with something. And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be a little jump like this, little jump. That's all you need. But can you feel it? Because that kind of validation of what I'm doing is right, it's a good feeling. And I had it again recently, very recently. Watch the space. Anyway, I'm going to get going and write my newsletter. If you're still watching, thank you. Question for the day. What are you doing this weekend? Anything exciting? I have zero plans. I'm going to make it up as I go. And then Monday back to work for a week. And then I'm going to Iceland. I will chat to you guys next week about Iceland. I'm thinking about sharing in a different way on social. But let's talk about that then. I'm going to get coffee. I am going to write my newsletter. And I'm going to say goodbye. Have a great weekend. Stay awesome. Cheers, guys.